Okay, y'all, we're gonna show you a low row, a lot of variations of a low row, a lot of different ways you can do a low row, but essentially the two main things you're gonna see if we have a back day or something like that is the difference, because your lat's a weird big muscle, so if I turn around here, so the lat, once again, inserts along here, comes up and inserts over your shoulder. Your lat, like your chest, its main job is to manipulate your shoulder joint. And so one of the things that your lats do is go from here down to here. Lats do that. But another thing your lats do is take it from this to this, right? So lats work this way, but they also work this way. So a lat pull down, we're trying to emphasize this. A low row, we're trying to emphasize this, right? So that's what we're gonna show you here. Ideally, when it comes to like being optimal, typically you'd want like a machine chest supported low row or a plate loaded chest supported low row. Chest support's really, really good because it takes your core out of the equation. But we're gonna show you a dumbbell one and different ways to do it because everybody has it. So if I was gonna grab that dumbbell, she's gonna use her arm to brace herself. So once again, she's trying not to let her core be the limiting factor. She's gonna let the weight get her into that stretch position or that lengthened position as best she can. And then she's gonna think of rowing back with her elbow, right? So she's gonna row back, hand to pocket, and then it's okay if your hand's not totally to pocket, but that's kind of the idea. Dudes, especially as you start lifting heavy, that's not gonna happen and that's okay. But the idea is to try to take your bicep out of the equation. If you look at her, the angle of her elbows, it's not like crunched up like this because then your bicep would be doing a lot of work. We're trying to take your bicep out of the equation. That's why the hand to pocket cue is there. But once again, she's driving back with her elbow and she's not trying to get super far back. She's only going just right there because that's really all her lats got to offer. Go ahead and rack it up. And her core's engaged enough, but that's why she's braced. Her back is nice and straight. You might find that this is really comfortable for you. You might find that this is super not comfortable for you. So you can always play with the height of this. I've seen dudes place their foreheads on the bench. And the one thing you're gonna see if you're in the home program, you'll see a hip hinge, low row. So we can show that real quick. Biggest thing, the form's almost exactly the same, except you're having to kind of hold a hip hinge, which means your core, your erectors back here especially, are really, really engaged, which means you won't be able to lift quite as heavy without fatiguing. That's okay. You might see, also might do this in like a barbell low row if you're in a gym program or the home gym program. Go ahead and rack it up. But that's just the biggest thing. It's gonna be a limiting factor. Though another way you can do this to kind of make it a little bit more, optimal, if you will, is do a chest supported bench low row. Really helpful if you have a buddy, less helpful if you don't have a buddy. And so also probably less comfortable for women than for men. But your chest supported, and then you can perform low rows like this. Once again, taking your core out of the equation. The biggest thing is to try to get that length in position, drive up, and really remember driving back with your elbows, right? If you feel this more in your bicep than in your back, you're using your biceps, so don't do that. But that's why think about your elbows more than anything. Almost imagining your hands are not there and you're really just trying to bring your elbows back. Go ahead and rack it up there. You got it. So yeah, lots of ways to do a low row. Find the one that's comfortable for you. Like I said, if you can get it to a machine, awesome. Or even a cable, right? So one of the things you can do, I've seen guys do, is they'll set this thing up with a cable, and so they're kneeling on that side of it. So imagine the bench is here, they're kneeling on it, and they're doing a low row like that. Awesome, right? But any kind of back day, you're typically gonna wanna have some kind of high row or high pull down, lat pull down, and then some kind of low row variation, just to make sure your lats are getting the work that they need. But yeah, it's a low row. If you have any questions, let me know.